Hey folks, it's Myron from the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network, and tonight I am joined by the brain trust of JB Enterprises, Dr. Joseph Rock III, and
the third.
I'm not going to mess it up this time, but I can't leave that off. So how y'all doing tonight, guys?
Andrew Blood. You didn't say that. Andrew Blood.
I didn't let you off. You just missed that one.
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
But yes, I have Drew Blood here with us.
Interrupted you.
He gets
the brain trust. I like that.
Yes.
Well,
I'm splendid, by the way.
Excellent.
How are you, Drew? How's your ankle feeling, Drew?
It is almost there. We will. I'm a champion. I'm a Lionheart, so I will be there at Shindig, no matter how good it is, fighting the good fight.
You were a true hero in Cornelia.
I was.
We were looking for a hero, and we found one.
Yes. I hope you're icing it, though. Got to keep it iced.
No, I haven't been, so I need to. I've just been elevating it. But, no, I was. It's just a day's work. You come out there, the fans pay the hard-earned money to see JB Enterprises. And unlike Justin Legend, who, skinned his knee, fell off his bike and skinned his knee, now he's been out of wrestling for a month, 2 months, or whatever he's been out of wrestling. Can't show up, but Drew Blood rips the ligaments off his ankle. This is legit, injury that my ligaments are detached, and I'm there fighting the good fight in medical, equipment, a medical grade boot.
Well, I'm
which Chris Nelms took advantage of. Chris Nelms, it's just like beating a guy in a wheelchair, right? I would never, ever, if I had to wrestle a man in a wheelchair, I would let that man beat me. Because I have honor, and I have sympathy, and I'm inclusive. And I believe that those people, would deserve a chance. But me getting in the ring, what's Chris Nelms do? He knows he can't beat anybody else, so, he pulls my tights and rolls me up.
You're being too humble. You were more than capable of beating him. You slipped.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I didn't slip. So the problem was this. Chris Nelms was laying on his backside the whole time. From the time Brian Kane got in there and knocked him down, Chris Nelms just lay. I said, these are paying customers that have come to see this match. And Chris Nelms, and it was embarrassing. Like, he didn't even have a pulse. And we tried to get something out of him. We tried to get something out of him. And he just laid there and just took a pounding. Didn't even fight back. And finally I just got in the ring and said, guys, we've got to give these people their money's worth. So I start on my bad leg dancing. The crowd, there's no video, of course. There would be no video. But the crowd was clapping, chanting. They were into it. And, it was a great moment. And like I said, medical grade boot right there. I didn't have any balance. I couldn't put any weight on my ankle. And Chris decides when I'm not looking to kind of roll me up and pull my tights. And it's like, man, what a he's got honor.
He paid for it big time.
He did. Yeah, he paid for it. As did Xander.
And you
the Peruvian
and Brian.
pussycat.
Yes. Oh yeah, Xander. Xander needed to mind his own business. I bet he wished he had after we got through with him.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I heard him saying when we picked him up for that power bomb, he goes, "Why did I come out here?" That was the last thing he said before it was lights out. He goes, "Why did I come out?" And we just crushed him through the mat. I was laughing. I was like,
yeah.
Learned something new today there, Peruvian pussycat.
That's right. It was 1, 2, 3, easy peasy. You threw him straight down with no trouble.
That's right.
No trouble whatsoever.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy.
What's going on, Myron?
I just got a message. Myron's internet has crashed.
It's still being recorded, I think, though.
It is interesting. Well, this truly is the JB Enterprise show. Well, Drew, you know what we did. What about
is this going to record
wonderful...
anyway?
I guess it is. We can send Myron a message later and see. But if it is, in fact, still recording, I want to just congratulate you, commend you on such a wonderful video you posted. I don't know how you found Rick Michales and got him to talk to you, but that was a beautiful moment.
Well, I offered him a Keystone Light. I said, Rick, I know you got a lot on your mind. I said, I know you don't have access to any sort of working technology. As you could see at the last show, when he tried to do a video conference, Rick is basically like a caveman. At first he was talking into a rock, and they had to say, no, talk into this phone, right? He didn't know. He's been brain damaged from all of his encounters with JB Enterprises. Brian Kane smashing his brains with the chair repeatedly, into the cage repeatedly, the street fight he was pounded on repeatedly. I mean, Rick Michales has sustained major brain damage, and he doesn't really know what century the time zone he's in. And anyway, but I said, Rick, I don't think you're fully aware of what you've signed up for, but do you have anything to say? And he was fairly lucid, so for that 2 minutes, yeah, straight to the point. So if you want to check out that video promo there by Rick Michales, just go to the Southern Fried Championship Wrestling fan page. Yeah, scroll way down because there's a bunch of other garbage that people have been posting. But yeah, it's he's ready, I guess.
That's usually what happens. The morons record garbage. They post it. They don't have a clue. But thankfully, they have people such as you and myself, Brian Kane. If Tetchy could type in English, he'd be doing it too. Hey, did you hear that I'm going to be on, along with Brian Kane, we're going to be on Just for Fun Radio this Friday morning at 9 a.m.?
I did hear that. Who has not heard that? If you've not heard it, then you've heard it now. Yeah.
It's going to be a great morning. Much better than when Chris Boring Nelms and David, I'm a
stooge.
A poor excuse for promoter managers.
Yeah.
Had the show.
A stooge. Well, I think that was like their lowest rated show ever. So
there was a spike though when I called in.
There was a spike.
And quite frankly, spiky ratings, and a man named Jerry Johnson, a good friend of ours, called in, the insurance man. Ratings were higher then as well.
When Jerry, I heard that he was concerned with all the bashings that Chris Nelms and Justin Legend have taken, that that Southern Pride was going to lose their insurance policy because they just couldn't pay out for all these injuries that have been occurring. So I don't know. Justin Legend will injure himself walking to the mailbox. So I'm not sure Shindig is the place for him, but I guess he'll be there. And Chris Nelms, Xander, the Peruvian pussycat. Listen,
I got a name for
Ramon.
him.
What?
Xander Ramon. If he's going to ring again with Tetchy.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, hey,
are you back?
Yes, I am back. I am so sorry. My producer knocked me offline trying to message me. He was telling me that we plan to release this call tomorrow, oddly enough, at 6:05.
At 6:05.
Well, we've been doing.
6:05. I have something worthy to have again to be aired.
We've been doing it in your stead.
Oh,
Myron.
Thank you so much.
So, absolutely. We weren't sure if it was actually recording or not. There actually probably like a gap because I think we hung up and then called back.
Yeah, well, at least it's working. I'm apologizing. I'm on this temporary computer. I stole my kid's computer when mine crashed.
Okay.
So
we kept it afloat for you.
Excellent, gentlemen.
Do you have any questions for us? We were just kind of talking about Just for Fun Radio and the Rick Michales, how Drew was able to get Rick Michales to actually post
into
a video.
Camera.
Well, Drew went to his house.
He didn't post the video. We had to post the video.
Well, yeah.
Rick just spoke to it. We put some dolls around him, and Rick is, I was telling Joseph, Rick is extremely brain damaged from all the matches he's had with us and the licks that he's taken.
Last year.
And I put some dolls around him, and he thought that those dolls were the 605. I don't blame him. I mean, they have about as much spunk to them as the real 605 crew. But Rick thought that he was talking to some real people, but they were just dolls.
Oh man, I hate to think that he might injure himself further at Shindig.
I don't know that he can injure himself further.
We will.
I don't know if there's any further that he can go. So.
There's always more. Maybe we could. Well, no.
Right. I mean, I guess we could. I don't know that Rick will be cognizant of the fact that he's been injured again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that his brain actually functions.
You may improve his cognitive skills.
Yeah, really, we might beat him till he's beautiful. So.
Oh.
No, that's be a lot of beating.
Oh, Lord. Well, the question I was asking before the producer dropped in is, how do you plan for an 8-man tag match?
Well, we would. That's my job. It's the brain trust, but I'm having a little difficulty because Todd will not explain to me the dynamics of this matchup. He just says, "Bring your 4 guys." I've got the other 4.
Yeah, we've heard rumblings in the office. We've heard rumblings, and we've seen it advertised as an elimination match. However, we've asked, is this an elimination match? If the decision hasn't been made. So, you know who I'm sure knows what kind of match it is? I'm sure the 605 crew knows what kind of match it is because Todd, David, they're all biased. From the David and Chris, we were talking about David Manners being the new owner of Southern Fried. He bought it from Charles. But he, on the Just for Fun radio, was very biased, extraordinarily biased. He was there with Chris. I mean, he didn't offer to come with us. Joseph will be on there next week. David didn't offer. He didn't offer to come with us. And he was, but David is new, and I'm guessing Charles had a lot going on. God rest his soul. We all love him. And probably did not bring him up to speed is what I'm thinking. Because Charles fell into this trap as well. I'm going to bring in these guys, and they're going to show JB Enterprises. They're going to teach. See, I don't know why these guys feel like they're our father and they need to teach us some sort of lesson. But they keep bringing in people. And
I'm the teacher. I'm the one who brings the lesson.
Yeah, I mean, we do the lesson because they fail every time. I mean, no one. Rick Michales. I mean, look, Rick Michales is a legend. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from the career that Rick Michales has had, but every time he comes in the ring with JB Enterprises, he leaves bloody. I mean, he leaves a bloody, disgusting mess. So
I have to stay away from him because he'll mess up my pretty green jacket.
Yeah, he messes up my stuff too. At a certain point, I'm just like, but he's so brain damaged he doesn't quit, and I'm like kicking him in the head. I'm like, look, man, you can let him blood on my boots here. This needs to be over, But he's down there, rah, 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 like, we're just like, oh, my God. But these guys keep trying. They keep coming. He's brought 605. Oh, bring the 605 crew back, and they're going to go after JB Enterprise. What genius thought that was a good idea? Because these cats have done nothing to get their ass handed to them the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, from the day that it started, we had Jagged. See, that's the thing. Jagged's not gotten a chance to really delve into what happened. Because we've had our issues with Jagged, but we've also had a past with Jagged that is positive and beautiful, right?
Yes,
and
it is now.
Jagged, when Jagged was not seeing the light and he was against JB Enterprises, he had a match with Brian Kane, and Brian Kane is vicious and brutal, and Jagged was lost. I'm not going to say who I would think would win, and when both those guys have their head on straight, I'm not sure, but Brian had his head on straight and Jagged did not at that time. That match made Jagged realize, like, hey, I've been lost. I've lost my way, and he wanted to come back home, which we were more than happy because Jagged is a phenomenal talent, a tremendous asset, and a leader. So we were overjoyed that he was extending overtures to come back. And
yes, we were.
We said, well, Jagged, here's the thing. 605 is coming back, and he said, man, guys, just to prove, like, that he had his head on straight, he's like, let me take care of this. He got in good with them and then just crushed their soul. And I got jealous in a good way. I said, Jagged, you can't have all the fun screwing with these guys like that. Like, these guys are so stupid. I said, I want to have some fun. So we concocted a plan where it looked like there was dissension in the ranks. I said, oh, look, this is going to be great. These guys are going to fall for it a second time. Boom. Fell for it a second time. I said, these guys are so stupid. Sinker. It's like shoot fish in a barrel. So they've lost then. They lost. Chris surrendered like a coward, at the tag match. Then he goes and gets stomped in this gauntlet match, right? He rolls me up, and I'm handicapped, rolls me up out of nowhere as I'm trying to entertain his fans because he's not going to do it. And
truth be told, Drew, let's just be honest. You let him win because his fans were crying, and you knew his wife was there. You let him win. You did, gave him that moment.
I'm a businessman first and foremost, right? A lot of guys are sports competitors first and foremost, right? Which I think that's fine if you're an amateur, but I am a professional. And I get paid based off how many people buy tickets and how many people buy T-shirts, how many people download podcasts. I get paid for these things. So when I foresee an opportunity to extend not only the punishment that we deal with Chris Nelms, but the fans enjoy it. The fans enjoy watching us beat up Chris Nelms. They enjoy it. They've turned out in droves to see it. They've cheered us wildly whenever they boo Chris Nelms out of the building. They keep telling
Chris, you can do this. Go back. You're better than them.
Go back.
All the time.
Just want to see him get beat up. He's going to get beat up. The fans and Chris is so stupid he falls for it too. The fans say, Chris, go fight him. You can do it. He's like, okay. And he goes right back out there like a dummy and gets killed, and they just laugh at him. And so, this is good for my pocketbook, though. So if I may have accidentally on purpose slipped and accidentally on purpose got rolled up and pinned, that may be true. It may be true because, we did let Chris know, oh, you might have got this victory, but he didn't leave that ring of his own volition. He was carried out.
He won a minor battle, but he definitely lost that war.
He's lost every war. He's lost every war. So
this rivalry is great for tickets.
He's like a Frenchman. He doesn't ever win.
Yeah, he's a Frenchman. It's Nelms. We're gonna make him wear a beret.
That's right.
Oh Lord, that's some harsh talk right there, guys. But like I said, this rivalry has put a lot of people in the stands. It's brought a lot of people out. It's been a big deal. Because
I don't know that it's this right.
It's us.
People enjoy JB Enterprises. Yeah, people enjoy JB Enterprises. They came out in droves. Look, they had some things fall through. That's going on a couple years now. And they really lost a lot of their crowd, right? Mm-hmm. And Charles, at the time, relied on us. And he was very open about it. He didn't hide that. To try to rebuild the crowd, which we did. Now, when Southern Fried first started, they had 300 or 400 people come to shows, but nobody paid. It was just 300 or 400 people, bums off the street that just walked in, right? So we're getting near 300 now, but everybody's paying for their seat. So they're making more money now than they ever have, it shows in the posters that are made, the venues that we run, the other talent that's brought in, because they're not cheap. So that's, it shows that JB Enterprises sort of lifted it up. Mm-hmm. So through a series of, and we understand how to make things interesting. I could have beat Todd Sexton the night that I decided to do it. I could have just went out there and beat him. But we made it more interesting. We got Kelly involved. We played some mind games. We got the fans vested in it.
That might have been that's the one thing I think was a mistake. Was letting Kelly get involved because she was not nice to me. But she wasn't nice. So, and we know what business we're in. We have to take some licks sometimes. But look, we off the strength of me deciding that Todd Sexton would be an appropriate rival, and choosing him and manipulating him. Off the strength of that, off Brian Kane manipulating and beating the stew out of Rick Michales, out of Techi, destroying Jeter, who we've not seen since. That's true.
Oh wow!
These things brought about a hugely, wildly successful Thanksgiving night show. Thursday night show.
The resurgence of Southern Pride. We made it great again.
The two biggest Thursday night shows with paid attendance have had Drew Blood in the main event. Drew Blood versus Odinson was the very first Thursday night show, and Drew Blood and JV Enterprises and War Games. So there's been there's been a number of Thursday night shows of varying
dropping the knowledge.
Attendance. So, but the two biggest ones have been with me and JB Enterprises in the main event. So that right there shows you something.
You've seen just how much Odinson's career has taken off since you gave him that lesson.
True.
Absolutely. We knew. We said that. If you go back to some archival podcasts, the one right before that, I believe we specifically said that what Odinson was going to gain from this was going to propel his career. You know, and we would have won had it not been for Todd Sexton. But that's beside the point. I mean, the reputation was made of these guys are going to draw a crowd no matter what day of the week you put this show on. And
that's right.
And then that show bumped right up to a Saturday show right before. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on that was competing. But Odinson learned a tremendous amount about main event matches, right? He learned a different style. And so, you know, you're welcome, Odinson, wherever you are.
And we won't rehash all that happened last year. We're going to focus now. But just know, Southern Fried is what it is today because of us. Whether it be Dr. Joseph Rock III, Drew Blood, the consummate professional wrestling machine, the upgrade Brian Kane, or the Japanese assassin, Techi Mikuji. Southern Fried is great again. And the Jagged Edge, of course. I would be remiss if I forgot my good friend, the Jagged Edge. Because remember, he is your champion.
He is your champion. So, you know, if you think the turnaround really happened between me and Jagged. I mean, you put two huge box office stars. We had a ladder match. I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to go over how that ladder match ended. I'm not going to say if that was a gimme or not. But that ladder match was the biggest crowd that they had in almost a year.
True.
So, JB Enterprises, like I said, if you look at what are the biggest cards of the year and who was in those main events, it's JB Enterprises.
Oh, definitely.
Shindig V. We might as well be in the main event. I
got a heads up booking a booking sheet that they fax out to everybody, and we are in the semi-main event this year. But,
right, which is you could just call that main event. It's the co-main event in my mind. It's the main event for tag matches.
Well, I mean,
and they're going to give the heavyweight. I don't mind them giving the heavyweight title match. I don't have any problem with Adrian Hawkins. He's doing a phenomenal job as a heavyweight champion for now.
I think he learned his lesson
until we decide to kind of put our hat back in that arena. But right now we feel that he's doing a great job carrying that belt. And it's not really in our interest right now to be in the heavyweight championship game. So he doesn't have anything to worry about. But, I think the company's in good hands with him as a champion.
Well, Drew, he sent me a message after he had that match with Techi, and he apologized. And he said, JB Enterprises is the best. Thank you for allowing me to carry the Southern Fried banner for now.
Right.
And I said,
we do deem him worthy. He's been doing a phenomenal job.
We call him approved. And I hope he destroys that no-good, over-athletic Ike Cross. He's too athletic. I hope he destroys him.
Well, he's got springs. I don't think that's actually – I think no one will check his boots. I've said this from the beginning. I said, you need to check this kid's boots. Because he's got springs installed inside. I've seen him pushing them down when he puts his boots on. He stuffs some springs down in that heel, and he steps in it, and he tightens those boots real tight. So he's bouncing around on springs, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's so athletic." This is a joke. It's a joke. He's got springs in his boots.
He's a Tigger. And he was on Winnie the Pooh.
That makes perfect sense now.
Oh yeah, he did. He has springs on. I was wondering.
He came from the 100-acre woods. I knew that.
But Ike has got a promising career. He's a pretty intelligent young man. I've spoken with him briefly, and I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. But he doesn't know how to handle. It's what I said about Odinson. It's the same principle that Odinson didn't really know how to use his strength at the time. he was a big, huge, strong guy, but it was like he was stronger. His muscles had surpassed his like nervous system and his brain. So he didn't know what to do with them. They were just there. And that's kind of like Ike. I mean, Ike, you know, he got springs in his boots and he's, you know, can do all sorts of cool things, but I don't think that his brain has caught up with him. It's like having an infant. Like, it's like giving birth to a baby that knows how to walk or that can walk. They don't know not to run into things. They don't know, you know, like, you've got to step down. They haven't learned anything. They just come right out of mama and can walk. They're going to fall. They're going to hit things. They don't know because they're babies. And that's kind of where Ike is operating at. He can do a lot of things, but he doesn't have the sort of coordination, the mental capability to sort of control it. So Adrian's been wrestling a long time and is a crafty, wily veteran. And I think this is going to be Ike's first big show. Main eventing, his face is foremost on the poster with Adrian. Mm-hmm. I mean, Adrian's been there before. He's main evented before. He knows what to do. And Adrian has something that Ike doesn't. He has a crew, the approved that are at his beck and call, which is always an asset. So
yeah,
I
don't
think
like Ike. I don't like Ike, so I want him to get beat anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he, you know, I don't have any issues with him one way or the other. I would love to beat him, you know, but if anybody's gonna beat him, it's gonna be Adrian. And you know, it's just one of those matches where it's like if you're an insider, if you know about wrestling, you know, like, you know, it's gonna be exciting. Ike's gonna put up a good fight, but I know the ending. Like, I've got my money bet on it already. Like, and that to me, that's money I've already made because I know exactly what's gonna happen. So, but fans, you know, if they don't really know the ins and outs of wrestling, if they've not seen these guys, they don't know what to look for. They may think it's a fairly even match, but I know Adrian, I know what he's capable of, and so I'm pretty confident in the finish of that one.
Well, they've got a bunch of names in the card, and thankfully they haven't made the mistake of putting them, you know, higher on the card than y'all. But they're bringing in Gunnar Miller. They're bringing in Michael Judas.
Mike Judas made his return in Cornelia. Yeah, we were.
He's scary. He's scary. I'm scared of him.
Yeah, he's a freak guy. He's strong. He looks I saw him in Cornelia, and he looks in better shape than he's looked in years. He's in phenomenal shape. So, you know, he's a scary guy. He's a workout fanatic. He is as accomplished. Is probably the most. I mean, if you just want to get technical about it, Michael Judas is the most accomplished guy on this. That's going to be a Shindig. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's wrestled for TNA. He's wrestled for various organizations. So he's
been a champion all over.
He's been a champion all over. So, you know, if we were going to have someone we were going to go after, it's not going to be this show. We have other things to do. But, you know, Michael Judas is one of those people that you take a peg from him that elevates you. So I'm excited. He's actually who I have my money on, even though I don't like the man at all. And he's treated me with some disrespect in the past as far as in the ring. You know, I get in there to help him and he's chokeslammed me. But he's sort of a mindless drone sometimes when he gets in there. Yeah, it's kind of been rude. But he's my favorite because it's Gunnar Miller versus who? Logan Creed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I hope Gunnar just drives him through the wall because Logan Creed is a 6'8", 300-pound bag of trash.
Instant.
I cannot stand Logan Creed.
Oh.
We helped Logan Creed. We were some people that were instrumental in getting him into this business and keeping him in a time where he was discouraged with his lack of success. And we've been repaid with scorn. So,
he's definitely
we don't have a soft spot in our heart for Logan Creed, but we will acknowledge his size and athleticism and the hard work that he's put in. But that doesn't make us favor him. Gunnar Miller, what can you say? Having a great couple of years. What I think Gunnar is, Elton John said this to, there's some other singer out there that's making a bunch of hits. He's a British guy. I don't know what his name is. But there's a British singer that's making a lot of, you might know, does anybody follow this stuff? There's some British guy out there right now that's singing a bunch of songs, everybody likes him. But Elton John told me, so you probably need to take a break for a while because eventually, no matter how popular you are, there's going to come a point where when your records aren't hits. Like, and it's going to come sudden. Like, all of a sudden, they don't hit, and you're just like, huh. And I think that's where Gunner is at, where he's had this tremendous success, and he's had things sort of given to him because of his look and his athleticism. I think he's actually not really he's wrestled sort of the same type of opponents. They always want to put you in there with a big guy, and then get you in there with this power guy, and he's sort of, I think there's a bubble there that hasn't been burst. There's a Gunner Miller bubble, and he's not sort of hit any adversity. And, I think Michael Judas is the bubble burster for both those guys right now. So he's got my money as far as that match goes.
Oh, yeah. He definitely brings a wild card into that. And then you've got Logan's wife in a mixed tag match.
She's the best thing about those heathens. So, I don't. Who else is in the mixed tag match?
Billy Buck is her tag team partner versus Francisco Ciazzo and Stormy Lee.
Oh, there's no way.
Well,
there's no. Queen are going to destroy.
Oh yeah, Francisco and Stormy are going to crush them. That's not even. I can see why that match isn't getting bigger billing, because that's a foregone conclusion right there. Yeah. So, Billy Buck is great.
He's no
I don't think it's any secret. Sometimes in wrestling, people like to keep personal relationships secret. That Stormy and Frankie are husband and wife.
Yes,
and they wrestle about 400 times a week together, traveling around. Billy Buck and Brooklyn, they're just we met each other. What do we do? Billy Buck's a great talent, and I love his outfits. I think he's the best dressed wrestler. But
it looks uncomfortable and hot to me.
I don't know. I love it. I don't like him personally because he kind of gives me the brush off. But great talent. But I'm gonna tell you this: Brooklyn may not have been wrestling long enough to know this, but Billy knows. I hope I get paid first because he's been wrestling long enough. He's a good enough talent to know I'm not getting there in this mixed tag with those two, right? He's got about a 45 to 50, I don't know, 45% chance of going out on top of Francisco anyway. Francisco got the advantage. They're just in a singles match. You can throw a Stormy in there, who is a terror, an absolute, just will eat you alive. And you put the two of them together who know each other backwards and forwards, who talk strategy nonstop. They probably talk about it just nonstop strategy. There's not. Like I said, Billy's like, man, I'm thankful to get a place on this big show. I'll just do what I got to do before I get stomped.
Francisco's got a 55% chance. Look, listen to this math. Francisco's got a 55% chance of beating Billy 1-on-1. Stormy's got a 90% chance of beating Brooklyn. So combined, they're like 145% chance of winning. It's a blowout.
So I feel comfortable with those odds. Yeah, if I was Billy, and I may give him, I probably don't have to give him this advice. I'm sure he's already thinking it. But I would just say, hey, sweetie, you want to be first in? Just let it in.
And then leave.
Then leave. Just take your money and go, buddy. You don't even got to get in this thing. So.
I'm super pleased to have both those ladies on our big show Friday night for the Bells of the Brawl.
My gosh.
Yeah. Maybe we should show up.
I was the intergender champion, and I wasn't invited.
Oh.
That's really quite perplexing.
I was the intergender champion I was the only intergender champion. I've
Were you
not
ever
been
defeated
for it.
Oh.
No.
Do you still have your tiara? Are you still holding the
Rick
tiara?
Michaels stole it. Rick Michaels stole my tiara.
He's a thief.
Well, that's like an official piece of Southern Fried property.
Well, it's kind of like the big gold belt. They made Ric Flair. Ric Flair bought that himself. I bought that myself, so it's really my property.
Oh.
They would never give us the deposit back, so we've kept it.
Right. But we stole it. Rick Michaels has it, so.
Yeah.
But maybe he'll bring it.
Oh, that's
maybe I can convince him somehow to bring it.
Yes.
But yeah, that's what else have we got on that card?
We got looks like the Approved, and I'm trying to see who they've got a tag match with. It looks like that fellow with big hair, and looks like could that be is that Slim J?
I'm not sure who they're tagging against. I'll say this. The Approved have been tag champions for the better part of a year and a half, save one event.
Yeah,
they have been champion for a year and a half, except for one night, Thanksgiving night, when they lost by a fluke to Strychnine in Ashworth. But they've held it for the last 18 months. I guess you could say 18 out of the last 19 months they have been champion. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm. That is impressive. And that tells me two things. That makes it, where as impressive as that seems, now you start getting to the point where them losing is an inevitability. So for me, as impressive as the 18th, well, I don't know, but you almost think like it could be anybody at this point. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like at 18 months, you're like, these guys got to lose at some point. So I start thinking every match is a 50-50 shot.
There's only one team I can imagine that's good enough to beat them, and you already know I manage them.
Yeah, but that's as of right now. That's not on our plate. That's not in
our plans. We're getting ready to eliminate 605. Because I'm about tired of seeing Chris Nelms in Monroe or Loganville or Cornelia or anywhere.
Cancel the 605. So, yeah, 605. They got ran out, right? I mean,
we ran them out.
Southern Fried is a changing of the guard. Charles was very open that with Chris Nelms sort of as the featured player, Southern Fried wasn't what he wanted it to be. There was a changing of the guard. JB Enterprises.
When Jagged Edge and I came into Southern Fried, and then you and Tetchy shortly thereafter, is when they left. Right. Because they could not stand up to the greatness that is JB Enterprises, and that's a fact.
And they did not want to tangle. I mean, they knew that eventually the two bullies on the block are eventually going to tangle. And Chris Nelms smartly, what I thought was smartly, left.
And he was I actually kind of liked him. He seemed to be a stand-up guy, understanding his role.
Yeah, and had some copious success in other places. So, more power to him. I'm guessing that the success in other places inflated his ego to the point where he thought he was going to be victorious against us and wanted to come back and sort of reclaim what he thought was his. It was never his to begin with. Mm-hmm. And, it's just not worked out for him at any juncture.
Well, the biggest issue he had was he began to listen to the call of the crowd.
Right.
Those same individuals he understood to be morons for 3.5 years, 4 years, even 4.5 years. Mm-hmm. Suddenly he decides, wait a minute, they're chanting my name. They're calling out the number 605. And he began to believe them. The moron said, you're better than JB Enterprises. They're morons. Why would Chris believe that?
And, the morons are led by the chief moron, Tim Rice, who you may not be familiar with.
I have met Myron. Mr. Rice, yes.
Okay. So Tim Rice has really sort of been pushed aside, has no active role with Southern Fried anymore. And in an effort to sort of, try to reclaim some former glory, he's convinced a group of people to support Chris. And Chris is easily influenced. You can see by his love of, Rick Michales. He'll just sort of attach to anybody that gives him some sort of validation. And so this is what he's done.
Deep down inside, I think Chris knows who he really is supposed to be. And it's not a caterer to the moron. He is not the mob ruler of the moron. He's got to know he can't be that moronic himself to not see, Drew, that every time he comes against us and he brings all these people that are supposed to have his back, they let him down. Yeah. Really? Come on, Drew. He can't be that dumb.
I agree with you. No, he's not that dumb. Like I said, went over from Chris. I think Chris is, I don't know. Maybe he is that dumb. I don't know. But certainly, if he's got any intelligence, he's seen that this path that he's on is not a path of success. That the path of, like, sort of catering to what other people want and people telling him, go fight this guy. And you go, and you can't do this. See, JB Enterprises doesn't, retaliate, right? We don't. JB Enterprises selects who we're going to go after, and there's a plan, and we are laser focused on that plan, And Chris is sort of just haphazardly fighting whoever, and people are telling him, oh, that's what a tough guy does, but no, that's not what a tough guy does. So, right now our focus has been on the decimation, and we could have decimated. At
any point
during the tag match where they honestly believed that I would turn on my friend of 15 years, Dr. Joseph Brock, the man who married me and has been at my side. They really honestly believed that I was going to turn on him. That's how dumb these people are.
I officiated his wedding, of course.
Yeah.
Been in his children's birthday parties.
And
he would turn on me?
Right. This was never going to happen. Right. But they believed it, and, that's how dumb they were. But we had Chris handcuffed, and we had Justin Legend prone, and we're pounding him. We could have just smashed his brains while he was handcuffed with a chair, until it was done, right? We allowed him to leave because we have a little grudging respect for Chris from years past, and we want him to make that choice on his own. This is not the way it goes.
He keeps saying, "You've made a mistake. You let me walk out." January, we could have ended his life, his career in wrestling. No more livelihood there. February, Brian Kane could have gotten him in Cornelia, made him a vegetable for the rest of his life. March, could have got him in Loganville. April, in Monroe, could have finished him off again that night when you did what you did, and he thought, oh, Drew's on my side. May, in Cornelia, we let him survive, hoping he would come to his senses. And he's like,
no one
came
and cleared out that ring. Yeah. So, this has just been an ongoing thing.
I don't care if it's a elimination tag, if it's a straight-up tag match. If he shows up, I do not want him walking out victorious. I don't want him walking out, period. If he is going to stay in that match and be stupid enough to get in the ring after he's been warned, Drew, we need to end him.
Well, first I'm going to make sure that he sees everybody get eliminated first, or Justin. Justin is a fly in the ointment who will not go away. When Chris left, Justin was the one who stayed, and he's been tortured ever since.
He's like a loyal puppy.
He's a loyal puppy to Chris Nelms.
He's
and
Woody.
He loves him.
He's Woody. Apparently,
he is Woody.
Chris Nelms' real name is Andy because he's nothing but Chris's toy.
Right, and he's got the same legs as Woody, the toy. He can't hardly stand up ever. He just flops around and, little skinny legs, always breaking, always, anytime you put weight on it, snaps his ankle, snaps a leg. And, he's basically just someone, I guess, that Chris just picked up off the street and says, hey, you want to be a wrestler? You can follow me. And he's just done it. Chris is like the Pied Piper of wannabes. And to his credit, Justin Legend was hanging around. But against his credit, he's hanging around getting stomped every week. So hopefully he comes out. Do what?
You would think he would have learned too by now.
I don't give Justin Legend any credit as far as learning something. I think that the time has come for him to learn, and he's not. So I don't really put that. He's just going to follow Chris. It's really Chris's fault. Whatever happens to Justin Legend is Chris's fault.
Yes. If Justin was smart, he would stay away while he still has. I mean, because I personally think that there is some potential with him as well, but he too listens to the morons. Tim Rice being the head one.
And Justin probably listens to him more than anybody. I mean, that's why he's not the leader of 605, and Chris is, you know. So
yeah.
And like I said, we'll just see. I mean, it's just one more thing that we have to overcome and sort of prove a point. But we've been proving it for years now. So I'm excited about this match. I'm always excited for Shindig because it's a big show. A lot of people come out, lots of excitement, hot crowds. It's a good weekend. I mean, it's got the ladies show on Friday. It's going to be great. You know, it's just like kind of like a little super wrestling weekend.
Did you hear that Ricky? Did you hear that Ricky Nelms is going to be the hostess on Friday? She's going to be the lady who's announcing everything. Ricky Nelms, Chris's wife.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Well, I might have to go see that. That might be. But anyway, yeah, it's going to kick off the summer, so it's a great time. So, you know, we're excited to be part of it just for that, you know, and we'll do what we can to make sure that the match is, you know, appears competitive.
We want to entertain. Although Tetchy, when he gets hold of Xander won't be there long. I can promise
Tetchy
you that.
does not. Yeah, Tetchy does not share our value of entertainment. Tetchy is a killer.
Massacre.
Yeah. So
he's starting to get a lot out of control. So we got to be a little careful with him.
Xander has gotten under his
safe word or something with him to stop him or slow him down. But I'm assuming it's in Japanese though.
Yeah.
He knows code words. We have code words that we say to him to get him to stop that have generally worked. Tetchy is, like I said, he's a warrior, but he knows Joseph can handle him. But those words have not been successful with Xander.
And we're not going to share with you the words, but we don't use them.
Yeah, but a few shows ago, I mean, we all came out. Joseph, me, Brian, Jagged, we all came out. And Tetchy threw us down to stay on. I mean, he didn't listen. He didn't heed anything that we said. So poor Xander, because this is the big show. We're not going to hold him back.
No.
So, and Xander has had no offense against Tetchy. I mean, he's been laid out repeatedly. And it's just going to be.
If Xander shows up, his name will now no longer be Xander Ramon. It'll be Xander Ramon if he comes back to Shindig.
The Peruvian pussycat.
Yes, so. It's going to be meow for him.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I am sure looking forward to this. This is going to be the biggest event of the year for Southern Fried and probably all of wrestling.
Well, it's going to be the biggest event up to this year, up to this point. We don't know, who knows what may come. But
we don't know what we're going to do next. But.
Yeah. But certainly up to this point in the year, it's the biggest show, and it generally is the big show of the year, and it usually fuels the remainder of the year, at least up until Crossroads.
Yep. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing this with me. I love to get the insight. I like to get the behind the scenes views you give me, and the preparation for this amazing event. Thank you. I look forward to seeing y'all this weekend.
We're glad you got to join us.
I am so glad, so glad I could make this. Even with the technical difficulties, I was able to come back in time. So I'm just happy it worked out in the end. But you guys, you know, keep your ankle ice, Drew, and Dr. Brock, I know your brain, you may need to ice it a little bit too, so it doesn't get overheated between now and then.
Well, hey, don't forget,
that does happen.
Yes. Friday, June 1st, Just for Fun Radio, 9 a.m., Brian Kane and myself with a special caller.
And the ladies show, 8 o'clock at Noel Rec Center.
Yes. Yes, so start coming. Have people, they need to tune in, 9 o'clock, Friday morning, Just for Fun Radio. I'm talking all things Southern Fried, specifically the Shindig 5. But then, come back June 1st at night, the Noel Rec Center in Monroe. and see the ladies bells of the brawl or balls of the bell or whatever it is. And then, of course, Shindig 5 on June 2nd. It's going to be tremendous. Both times. We got, the Hall of Fame. Good Giggly Wiggly. Charles.
Yes. We will be honoring our fallen leader, Charles Anschutz, which, we have no ill will, and we respect that. We think that's probably the only class act thing that David and Todd have come up with is honoring Charles. So we're excited about that because he certainly deserves it for what he has built in his legacy. So,
well, thank you guys.
Along with
I'll
some
see you
other
this
honors.
weekend.
All right, Myron, you have a good one.
Y'all take it easy.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.